I've just moved back to the States from Canada, and in Vancouver I was involved with RCIA, and what I discovered was that each parish developed their own RCIA program, and some of them did it well and some didn't. And I'm wondering, has there ever been a thought of developing an RCIA for Rite of Christian Initiation for adults, I don't know if we call it the same in Italy, a program for welcoming so that we actually have a catechumenate, and then a catechetical portion, and then a mystagogia portion coming from Italy that would give guidelines to the different dioceses.
Yeah, I would say that we have the catechumenate that is given by the Church, and this is the official one. And then every churches, they can translate it into the concrete situation. But of course the problem for me is not the moment of catechumenate, because this is a moment well done in the Church. Is really, we have a beautiful experience everywhere. The problem that I mentioned before is that after catechumenate, so what happened in our communities in order to keep the new believers and to support their faith, and how our communities live the law of communion. If our community are with the same enthusiasm when they welcome the catechumenate, or if we have communities tired and without the strength to change. That is my problem, and that is what normally we should challenge to change. Pope Francis says one word every day. Our communities are under the risk of clericalism. This word that Pope Francis in continuity repeats. We need to fight with clericalism. And clericalism, it means that we do all the time the same thing. We did since the last 20 years, and we continue to. No, there is no dynamic for changing. This is the challenge, the dynamic of changing our style of life. And probably we need some moment. Probably we need also moment of crisis, through which we can understand better how we can change. Because if everything is going well, we don't reflect on it. But if there is something that put the community in a very concrete and true reflection, so at the end of the day, probably it means that there is the will of changing. Well, the sisters are afraid to tell something, and probably the best is to pray. What do you think?
Could you talk about the cross?
Oh, the cross, yeah.
I'll hold it up.
No, I can keep it. someone coming to Rome has stolen the cross. Because we had for the Jubilee only 30 or 20.
21.
Or 21. You know, there is only 21 of this cross in the world. Now I enter in the chapel and I see one of the cross of the Jubilee. How it is possible? Because they came with the staff, came to Rome at the end of the Jubilee. This is the cross of the Jubilee. And as you know, this is the most important sign of the Jubilee, is the logo of the Jubilee. You know, we have Jesus like the Good Shepherd. And this is Adam on the shoulder. Adam. Humanity, mankind. But you know what is interesting? If you look well, the two faces are so closed because to be closed is a sign of tenderness. Jesus and Adam, we all are Adam. Jesus and Adam, Jesus, good shepherd, have tenderness for everybody. He took everybody on his shoulder. And tenderness and unity is so deep. Look at that. There is only 3 eyes. Should be 4. Are 3. Why? Because the closeness, the unity is so profound that Jesus sees the world through Adam, with one eye of Adam. This is the incarnation. But in the same Adam, all of us, they see with the eye of Jesus Christ. If we see with the eyes of Jesus Christ, mercy becomes concrete in our life. And you know, there is 3 different colors of blue because the cross, the mystery of salvation, the cross makes humanity, mankind, all the time more free and saved. Until it is difficult, but this is darker, and then there is blue, and then there is a light blue, because we come out of the darkness. And this is the sign of the Jubilee of mercy. Mercy, my dear sisters, mercy is not a word. Mercy is a concrete action. Mercy is a concrete life. Mercy is witness. And the Jubilee, the year of Jubilee is finished. But the announcement of mercy continues. And this is our responsibility for evangelization. Because mercy is the essence of the gospel. mercy, merciful, is the first attribute of God. I am merciful. Mercy is all the life of Jesus Christ. You know how interesting it is, because misericordes sicut pater, be merciful like the Father. You know that comes from Luke. And Jesus said to his disciple, be merciful like the Father. But if you take the same text in Matthew, do you know what is written? And Jesus said, be perfect like the Father. There is no contradiction at all. If you want to be perfect, you should be merciful. If you are merciful, this is the way to be perfect. I hope, my dear sisters, that the gift of the cross of the Jubilee will remember to this community, but to the sister when they come, so to remember the moment of profound grace that the Church, around all the world, the Church lived during the Jubilee. It was really, believe me, it was a moment of grace, unexpected, but it was also a moment of grace of which we are responsible. Because if we don't continue this message, this witness of mercy, the world becomes more poor. It was this Jubilee like so I had the feeling that people was waiting for mercy. I cannot explain another way, but the inside of Pope Francis to give to the world a privileged moment of mercy, it was like to answer to this researching that was in the deepest, without probably any expression, and when he pronounced the ear of mercy, so everybody they had a moment of an incredible enthusiasm around all the world. We did a study on that, scientific study, and in all the world, between 900 million and 950 millions, so the distinction is between these two. 900 millions of believers, they celebrate in the world the Jubilee of Mercy. So we don't know if they are 900 millions or 950 millions. But even if I don't take the 50 millions, 900 millions of people, of believers, they celebrate the Jubilee of Mercy. So, this is the sign that the Jubilee of Mercy should continue with our witness of mercy. Be merciful like the Father.
Could you explain how the cross was processed down the reserved walkway? down the reserve walkway into St. Peter's through the Holy Door, that this was the cross that led to the
Oh, yeah. Why there is this cross? Right. Thank you, Gino. Because when we organized the Jubilee, we said, well, it's a pilgrimage. And then we suggested to everybody, but we did in Rome. If you know Rome, you know there is Castel Sant'Angelo, and then from Castel Sant'Angelo there is Via della Conciliazione until the Holy Door. Then we said, good, everybody going to the Holy Door, they should not go so without thinking what they are doing and so and so. No, that should be a pilgrimage to the Holy Door. And a pilgrimage, it means reflection, I think. It means prayer. And then all the 22 millions of pilgrims coming to Rome, because this was the sum, so 22 millions.
registered to go to.
Yeah, registered by our office. So they went in different languages. They went with the cross in this way, praying to all Via della Conciliazione, praying and singing and reflecting. And believe me, the sign was in the middle of the city. You know how many tourists and so cars, traffic, everything. In the middle of the city, in the middle of the chaos, there is people praying and going to the Holy Door. And you should see how many tourists, they stopped in order to see what the pilgrimage they were doing. It was a sign. I can tell you, many policemen, you know, normally policemen, strong, they have not emotion at all. Many policemen came to me and say, is an emotion to see people pray, singing, and giving witness of their faith. So, this is why we had 21 crosses, and this is why one is in US. I think that this is the only one in US, so it's not a relic, but it's very precious. And when you see, remember the pilgrimage, because we are pilgrimage in this world. So, but giving sign of mercy.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for the beautifully rich reflection. You've fed the fires of our love of our faith, and you've reminded us that we have to continue to delve into the depths of those mysteries. But we also have to bring it to a culture that sorely needs the truth. I think they want the truth as well. But we thank you also for your clarity in telling us and showing us the challenges that we face and the responsibilities that we have. So we have been truly blessed to be here today. Thank you so much.